You ever been on one of those projects that just feels like it's taken on water? The budget starts to bloat, the deadlines get all fuzzy, and you're just paddling like crazy to keep the whole thing from going under. It's super stressful, right? And it happens all the time. So in this explainer, we're going to play Project Doctor. We'll learn how to check a project's vital signs so we can spot the problems before they sink the ship. So just how common is this problem? Well, according to our source material, a whopping 50% of all projects go over budget. Let that sink in for a second. Half. That means it's basically a coin flip chance that the project you're on right now is heading for a budget crisis. And it's usually because of the usual suspects. Maybe the initial estimates were way off, some unexpected risk popped up, or, my personal favorite, the dreaded scope creep, where new things just keep getting tacked on. And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, anybody can tell you you're over budget after all the money's gone. The real trick, the real skill, is spotting those warning signs early enough so you can actually do something about it. And to do that, we need to check the project's vital signs. Now, in the world of project management, our vitals are just a few key cost metrics. They give us a clear, no-nonsense look at how healthy our project really is. So let's get our stethoscope out and check the first one. First up is cost variance, or CV for short. And it's all about asking one super simple question. Are we getting our money's worth? It just compares the earned value, which is just a fancy way of saying the budgeted cost of the work we've actually finished, to the actual cost, what we've really spent so far. And look, the formula is as simple as it sounds. You just take the earned value, what the work you've done is worth, and subtract what you've actually spent. That's it. This one number tells you exactly where you stand. And the result is crystal clear. If your cost variance is a positive number, hey, pop the champagne. You are under budget. That's great news. But if it's negative, that's your first big warning light. You are officially spending more money than the work you're doing is worth. Okay, so our next vital sign is the Cost Performance Index, or CPI. Now, if cost variance told us if we're over budget, CPI tells us how efficiently we're using our cash. Think of it like your project's financial miles per gallon. Are you getting good mileage out of every single dollar you spend? And the magic number here is 1. That's it. Just 1. A CPI of 1.0 means you're perfectly on track. You're getting exactly $1 of value for every dollar you spend. But the second that number dips below 1, your efficiency is tanking. And that's a clear signal that you, the project manager, need to step in and take action. Okay, so we've checked the vitals, and the diagnosis isn't great. We're over budget. So the very next question a doctor and a project manager has to ask is, what are the chances of recovery? This is the prognosis. And you bet we have a tool for that too. This tool is called the Two Complete Performance Index, or TCPI. And what's cool about it is that it's all about looking forward. It doesn't care about what you've already spent. Instead, it calculates the exact level of performance, the efficiency, you have to hit for the rest of the project if you want any hope of finishing on budget. It's basically your get-well plan. All right, I know what you're thinking. That formula looks a little scary, right? A little more complicated than the last one. But just hang with me here, because once you break it down, it's actually telling a really simple and really powerful story. Let's just translate that math into plain English. The top part is simply the value of all the work you still have left to do. And the bottom part, that's just the cash you've got left in the bank to do it. So you're just dividing the work that's left by the money that's left. Simple as that. Okay, so theory is great, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. Let's dig into a case study from our source material. We're going to read a specific patient's chart and see what these numbers are really telling us. Okay, so here's the situation. We're 8 weeks into a project. The total budget for the whole thing is a nice round $100,000. Now, so far we finished work that was valued at $54,000. But, and here's the kicker, to get that work done, we've actually spent $68,000. You can probably see where this is going. Let's run the numbers. First up, let's check that cost variance. We take our earned value, the $54,000, and we subtract our actual cost, the $68,000. And what do we get? Negative $14,000. Ouch! That is the sound of our project officially being in the red. So, the diagnosis is in, and it's not good. Our patient is sick. We are $14,000 over budget, plain and simple. Why? Because the value we've created is way less than the cash we've burned to create it. So, what's the prognosis? Can we save this project? Well, to figure that out, we calculate the TCPI. Remember that formula?
We take the remaining work, which is the total budget minus what we've earned, and we divide it by the remaining money, the total budget minus what we've spent. And that gives us a TCPI of 1.437.
So what does that number even mean? Well, it means this team has a huge mountain to climb. To have any chance of finishing on budget, they have to get incredibly efficient, like right now. For every single dollar they spend from this point forward, they need to produce almost $1.44 in value. That is a massive change from how they've been working. And this graph? Oh man, this graph tells the whole story visually. See that gap? Right around week 4? That's our problem right there. That orange line, our actual cost, it just starts to rocket upwards, while the gray line, the value we're earning, just can't keep up. That growing gap between the lines, that's our $14,000 deficit, right there on the screen. So, the diagnosis is bad, the prognosis is challenging. So what do? Just throw in the towel and call it a day? No way. Absolutely not. See, these numbers aren't just report cards to make you feel bad. They're signals. They are flashing red lights that tell a project manager exactly when and where they need to intervene with a treatment plan. And that treatment plan is actually a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, you have to analyze your performance constantly. Don't wait 8 weeks. Check these vitals all the time. Second, as soon as you spot a problem, you have to decide on a corrective action. Dig in, find out why you're overspending. And finally, you revise the project plan. You bake those changes right in to get things back on track. And that right there, that's the whole point of all this. Project cost management isn't some boring accounting exercise about what happened in the past. It's about actively steering the project into the future. These metrics, your CV, your CPI, your TCPI, they're the instruments on your dashboard, giving you the critical signals you need to navigate away from disaster. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Imagine this is your project. The vitals are flashing red, the prognosis is tough, and you've got a TCPI of nearly 1.44 staring you in the face. What's the very first thing you would do? What's your first move?